learn something new every day. I've never done this Google Hangout stuff before, but I'm gonna have to learn. I'm gonna have to learn it.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So it looks like we're live now. So yeah, like I
Okay.
said, Fred, thanks for joining me. I saw that you made a video on your channel talking about knife crime in London. Like we've seen a massive surge in knife crime, and it seems to be mainly amongst the youth of London, the teenagers and that. Sometimes, really young kids, really 14, 15 years old sometimes. And first of all, what made you want to discuss those issues? Like, how has it touched you? How has it touched you?
It's mainly because it's been trending topic in all publications all year. Last year, obviously, because of the record numbers of people like that's dying from these stab wounds and things like that as well, it's making headlines. So it's everywhere, which is why I wanted to touch on it as well. And partly because I live in an area, or I did live in an area where it's the inner cities, basically. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of like people maybe not so well off and things like that. And I see these things around me. So I'm more in touch with knife crime than your average journalist that's going to be writing it from their studios. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And that came across, I'll link your channel, your video below, but that came across like the passion about it, because sometimes you do get the media, and I want to go into their role in all this later on, right? Sure. But you do get people that are reporting on the news that are obviously, I don't know, even someone like Boris Johnson, for example, ex-mayor of London, that's so far removed from the guy on the street, right? Let alone the kids in these areas, and whether they're estates or ghettoized areas in London and that. So that's pretty cool. So you talked a lot about how you believe the home is a massive influence around this, like a person's upbringing. Did you want to touch on that a bit?
Yeah, like I said, basically, I'm there. I know some of these kids I know some kids that's been stabbed. I know kids have done stabbings or doing life sentences now. I know kids have survived it. I like I said, I'm around this stuff. So from my experience, and when I did my video, some people are getting back at me in the comments saying this and that, even on Instagram. And I feel like some of them were like, mainly females, and I feel like they were single parents themselves. In my opinion, a lot of these kids, from my life experience, not from anything I've read or nothing like that, a lot of these kids, like me and a lot of my friends, we're all from single parent homes. Do you know what I'm saying? But the difference is, I'm from a different generation to these kids. I'm in my mid-30s, so I'm an 80s baby. So a lot of these kids are millennium babies. You know what I mean? So their outlook on life is totally different. And I said something in my video. Some people agreed with it, some people didn't. I believe a lot of these kids are. Do you remember some years back when the council was giving girls that had babies council flats just because they had babies? I think a lot of these kids are from that generation because I know a lot of single parents, and a lot of them, there's some very, very good single parents out there, don't get me wrong, but I feel like a lot of them feel like they haven't lived the life they want to live. So because of that, the kids are getting neglected. Do you know what I'm saying? They've got whatever they needed to get out of having a kid. They've got a flat. Now the kids are basically raising themselves up. How can a mother have a child and you don't know I understand, listen, they've got to work, they've got to do what they need to do, but how can you have a child and have no idea as to what your child is getting up to at all? Is it got to that point where like the work is more important than your child? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
And I get very passionate when I talk about this, but if I'm going on track a bit, rein me back in.
No, but you make a good point, because this is what you believe is to be the core of it, is the home. And I believe that, because obviously our biggest influence is our environment and our company, right? So if your environment isn't there and there's going to be neglect in the house, then that person's going to go outside and seek their peer group, right? Which is going to be their influence, which is going to be probably maybe a wrong crowd, or fall into a wrong crowd, because there's nothing else. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so another thing I wanted to say in regards to that as well is like, See, when I say things as well, I'm still getting new to this YouTube community life, yeah,
Yeah.
because people are coming at abusing me, yeah.
Yeah.
Although there have been some balanced males brought by females, I believe a man needs a man in the household to teach them and guide them. Like sometimes I know female with kids and they get to a certain point, like the kid might be 15, 16. The kid is towering over their mums, you know, they're bigger than their mums. It gets to a point where the mother can no longer physically, do you know what I mean? Like handle a boy child. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? This
Yeah.
is where the father role comes in. And with a lot of these cases, like myself and my friends and these kids I'm telling you about, we're all from single parent homes. And that single parent home is mainly led by a mother, not a father. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're getting a mother's nurturing that we need, but the discipline that these kids need, real discipline, they're not getting. Hence why they're going out there and they're searching for drug dealers and people that they don't have basic, like I said before, because they're living in single parent homes, a lot of their parents are they got to pay bills, they got to go to work and provide the daily needs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these kids, they don't feel loved. They feel neglected. Yeah. The mother's paying the bills, but in turn, she's neglecting her child. The child feels neglected. So he goes out there to find some sort of companionship or love. Guess where they find it? These drug dealers or these people on their estates, these people that use these kids, they are very, very good in spotting these kids that come from these kind of conditions. And they target these kids. And these kids are the product of these stabbings and everything we see going on nowadays, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, definitely. But that's one thing when you look in society now, it's like, you know, looking at it deeper in terms of gender roles and the role of the man, that's pretty much, it's being pushed out of society in general. So, you know, there's a wider issue there, where men now, I mean, I don't want to go into the whole feminist movement, things like that, but it wasn't all, but it wasn't always that way. So, you know, and I was reading a book recently by a very famous success coach, Dan Pena, and he was talking about what the problem is these days, because he refers to a lot of people, you know, that term snowflake, like these generations, like, it's just snowflakes. He says that one of the reasons is that people lack two things. One is leadership and one is role models. And you have to say, like, for a guy or a boy growing up, it's that male influence in their life, right? That they're going to look to naturally. Yeah, absolutely. But I want you to widen it out more and look at the society as a whole, because for me, I don't know if you remember a few years ago, right? I don't want to touch on any like corporations too much, but Adidas put out this advert, and they were talking about how like these brands are also jumping on the gang culture bandwagon, you know, and do you remember that? And the advert was banned because it was like what people thought depicting gangs. But then, you know, you push music into that, right? Certain groups, I know there was one group that got jailed or something. I'm not too up in like on that scene, but you got the music, you've got, like you said, free access to the internet, whereas back in the day we had the watershed at 9 o'clock. That was a brilliant point, you know, because now it's just you can see everything, right? So what do you think do you think that it's a whole, like it's a wider thing? It's not, you know, there's the home as well, but there's other influences, you know?
There's like, again, like I said, like I touched on my video, like I've said this before. Do you remember when Blackberries first came out, when we had the Blackberry messengers?
I do.
And this was when like these viral videos, I remember I used to see like so many beheading videos. Like it started to disturb me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and the thing is, what happened is, and I mentioned this back then, we get desensitized to all this violence. Do you know what I'm saying? Nowadays, correct me if I'm wrong, when you see like a violent video nowadays, almost like, oh, whatever, it's become nothing normal. For us to see real life violence, it's become nothing normal. And bearing in mind, we are adults. These kids coming from where they've had no guidelines in the home, sometimes they can't decipher reality from what's fake. That's what I genuinely, and you might think, you know what, some of these kids are 15, 16-year-old, They should know what's right from wrong. But if they've never been taught, then I genuinely think some of these kids are doing stabbings and they don't know that they're gonna actually take a life or the repercussions, or do you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these kids, when they get arrested or go to the police station or they realize how serious things are, they start crying, they turn into babies, they want their moms and all these things because they don't realize how deep their actions are. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I believe nowadays we're living in a generation where like you said, we used to have the watershed. Now we've got the internet. There is no such thing as the watershed no more. You can literally go on the internet and watch anything you want to watch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I've got my niece and nephews, little kids, 10, 11 years old. They got phones,
Yeah.
you know? And we all know with phones, like they can have access to so many things. You can try and put stuff on the phone to try and restrict them doing stuff, but there's always ways around everything. These kids are very clever nowadays. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
So, yeah, so I believe we're in a time where like, almost like a cowboy, like when I say cowboy, I mean it's like nothing matters anymore.
Yeah.
It's just literally everyone for themselves. Do you know what I'm saying? Like nothing matters no more. Like, and oh man, I have so much points to say. Like me coming from, I was brought up in Africa,
yeah.
Before I came to this country when I was young. In Africa, we have communities. Like literally, my mother could be at home. If I'm not, I need to be home by a certain time because the food is there and the neighbor's going to come and give us the food because my mother's left the food with the neighbors. Basically, there's that saying, what's the saying? It takes a community to raise a child, basically. And it takes, especially in the country where like parents are so pressed for paying bills. London is the fourth most expensive place to live in the world. Especially where parents are so pressed for paying bills and they got to be at work all day. The community has to help. There has to be people there to help because like a single parent can't do it all by themselves. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is where everyone needs to like put their helping hands, whether it's at schools, these teachers, and I know a few teachers as well, they literally don't care anymore. They go there and get a paycheck and come back home. You'll be it's very few teachers that care nowadays, that genuinely care about these kids' welfare. A lot of them are just going there, doing a job. When they go to the pub on a Friday night with their friends, it's cool to say, yeah, I'm a teacher. Do you know? It's not because what comes with being a teacher from back in the days when I was in school. Like the teachers genuinely, they cared. Do you know what I'm saying? And another thing as well as parents getting younger, teachers are getting younger as well. And I just feel like there's not enough installed discipline in the generation of today. And where there's like, there's so much excuses for everything nowadays. That's why even when you mention the snowflake culture, it's like nobody is strong enough no more. Nobody is man enough or even woman enough, or everyone's, kids are not allowed to get disciplined no more.
Yeah. Because
of the new rules, because of this snowflake culture. You say something nowadays, you get people want to be pointing fingers at you. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a generation where we need to man up. We need to like, I genuinely think these internets and these the new technologies is messing all of us up because we're losing touch with what human beings are meant to be. Do you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
You see a fight on the road nowadays, people just want to film it rather than stop it and trying to see what the cause of the problem is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it's true. But like what I see, right, in terms of the technology and the influence on society, it's almost as if this generation is like a guinea pig generation because we're going through this transition because me and you didn't have that, right? Where we didn't have all this, So it's like a guinea pig generation, and in any set of transition, like in a war, they said there's collateral. So there's collateral damage, which means people have to die in a war, right, in order to get through it. Yeah. And it's almost that what we're seeing. I believe it's that. It's like you let it happen because it has to happen because we're going through a transition, which is screwed up. Yeah, I don't know.
I do. I see what you're saying, but then a part of me all right, all right. Listen, yeah, we live in Britain. We need to understand that there is, as much as it's a multicultural society in Britain and all that, black and ethnic minorities, yeah, we are second class citizens. We have to understand that.
Yeah.
With all these knife crimes happening, yeah, basically the knife crimes happen. They put it on the front of paper. Most of the times, they don't even get a resolve. I remember this white girl that was knifed in a park a few months ago. Do you remember? Do you remember when this happened?
Yeah, down near Romford in Essex, not too far.
Within a week or two, that case was solved, dusted, done.
Mm. Yeah.
It's like the whole just slightly going off the topic. It's like the thing, you know, the Muslim grooming gangs in the east of London and stuff.
Yeah.
How that made such big news and all this. But hold on, why hasn't the Catholic Church made such big news? Because they've been doing this for years. And I'm not saying two wrongs make a right.
No, I know what you're saying.
We're not priority. And most of the people dying are black and ethnic minorities. Do you know what I'm saying? If it was mostly white kids dying, like when it was happening in Scotland, they took drastic actions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
no, I mean that's something that runs deep, right? And like when you say, because my parents are immigrants as well, like came back in the 70s, and obviously it was worse, not even worse, but it was more prevalent probably on the streets back then, right? But it's never gone away. Like in terms of the race thing, that's never gone away. It's always been like that. Even you look at football as well these days, you know, when Raheem Sterling was talking about racism in football this year, highlighting something that you probably thought we would have dealt with back in the 80s or whatever.
Exactly.
So, but there's always going to be that aspect of being second-class citizens. And I want you to talk about class actually, because, you know, it's like, for me, it's a shame, right, to see these kids like getting involved in these situations because of their environment and their company. Because then you look at other areas where, let's say, it's more of a middle class or upper class areas, right? They don't seem to have these. It's like completely, like you say, we're all living in Britain, but it's completely different worlds. I remember I took a walk around Notting Hill recently. So I was walking around there, and then you got estates, like you said in your video, and then you got, you know, multi-million-pound mansions next door. And like you said, kids are like, you know, all kids, they'll have the same aspirations, right? Whether it's material things or whether they want to be, I don't know, scientists or whatever, jobs or whatever. And it's sad to see that one set of people feel that it's easier for them. One set of people have completely disregarded it and just go and kill someone in the road. Like the mindset to think that I can just go out there and kill somebody, when really you have all the opportunities ever in front of you. You can make £1 million online. Like, it's so deep, don't you think? It's sad.
Yeah. And again, this goes back to the point of having a father in the home and having a two-parent household. Because, like, listen, we're all human beings. We make mistakes. Me, you, everyone, we've all made silly decisions in our life at some point. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have no one there, remember, the mother most of the time in a single parent household is working. But if you don't have someone there to guide you and say, look, don't do this, do this. Or even when you're going off the rails, spot that you're going off the rails and then rail you back in just to like put you. If you don't have no one there, once you start going off the rails, you just completely go off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And if you ain't had that, like, for example, I'll be honest with you, I went off the rails when I was young.
Yeah.
But because I had such good fundamental teachings from when I was young, I never killed no one. I've never stabbed anyone. I've never, you know what I'm saying? My going off the rails is probably completely different to these kids nowadays. Do you know what I'm saying? So my point is, if they're taught good fundamentals and they have the right settings that they're meant to have in a home, these things shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
They shouldn't happen. And you know what? Let me hit you with this point, yeah?
Yeah.
In England, most of the knife crime is by what? Black people? Black people, would you say?
Yeah.
And which group, out of all groups, like the Asian community, they're not renowned for single parent households, are they?
Not necessarily, no.
No, neither is the white community. Yeah. As much as you see the Jeremy Kyle lot, but that's a very small fraction of, do you know what I'm saying? The Jewish community, it only happens in the black community.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It's true.
So, like this is something that needs to be like it really needs to be tackled. There's an issue with black kids. It's literally black kids. It's got nothing. I know there's a lot of other people out there stabbings and everyone stabbed each other, but in London, it's with black kids. And what hurts me most, yeah, and I'm not saying they should be going out there stabbing other colors. It's like they have a lot of self-hate. I've seen black kids. They'll have an argument with like a white person or an Asian person or something. It might end up in like verbal abuse. But if it was a black person, it'll end up in physical abuse.
Yeah.
There's so much self-hate. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And again, I'll attribute it to the fact that the black community has the largest community of single-parent homes. Fact.
Yeah, no, and definitely, that's a fact. And also that there's, you know, a lot of hatred amongst the community, like xenophobia. And I speak to other people from black community, and they say exactly the same thing. That is the truth, you know. So there's also like, we can say media and society and everything like that, right? But then sometimes it's closer to home than that, isn't it? Like you're saying, within the community itself.
Yep, it is.
So what do you think can be? But how do you even start, right? Because, like you say, you go down the rabbit hole. The next generation could end up even worse than this generation. Do
you know? I do you know what? Yeah. Oh man, I can't say what I really want to say because people are gonna call me a mad conspiracy theorist and all this stuff and all that.
No, that's what my channel's about, man. Edge of the Matrix. Just go for it.
But you know what? Yeah, I genuinely don't believe black people are meant to make it like that. Remember, all through history, remember that we've been painted out as monkeys, lazy, uneducated, whatever negative lights, even up till today. Yeah. So I saw this on a video a few years ago. The woman basically said, if black people are it's mainly white people because not other people that see black. If black people are the way white people really see them as lazy and apes and all this other stuff, then why would you not give them equal opportunity to their counterparts, like a white person? Why they've been denied? Is it because you think they could get somewhere in power? They could have an ascendancy in community. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't think as black people, like I tell you this, there was a maths equation in China, 30-year maths equation. It got broken by a Chinese, a black Nigerian guy. There's I think the youngest judge in America, it's like a black African woman. There is so much stuff in this world going on that black people are achieving. But guess what? We only see Jay-Z, Beyonce, and these stupid people. Do you know what I'm saying? That really don't care about the black community. They're just pawns in destroying us. Like, don't get me started. Jay-Z's nowadays doing this stuff where like he's awoke now and stuff and all that. But bro, you've destroyed so many black lives. What you do? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
And they put these people on the forefront of the media. These are all the main people you see, successful black people in the media, are athletes, musicians, actors. When you get people like David Lammy and Diane Abbott, people in politics, they get slandered like nobody's business in the media.
I remember.
I
remember Diane Abbott was slurring her words. You remember that? About last year or something, and they were cussing her, saying, she's not up for it and this and that. But she was ill. She had an illness, right?
This woman gets crazy death threats. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, any black person, any black person that does make it into that kind of position, they're not thrusted into the limelight like that and shown as a good example for the rest of the black people. But Jay-Z now and Gigs and all these stupid other people that has.
No, but we
have no examples to look forward to.
Exactly.
Like in the Asian community, in the Jewish community, in the white community, there are so many examples. Our examples are athletes and sports stars and these people. Do you know what I'm saying? Not educated people.
No, it's true.
And these kids, think about it. Sorry, I don't.
No,
I'm
go
not
on.
Trying to cut
Go on.
These kids, think about it, When you look in the limelight of the Jay-Z's, even in England, the Gigs, Nines, whoever else, these are people who are now successful but I've told you they became successful off of doing all this crazy shit that these kids are doing now. So how do you expect them to stop? You're telling them you sold drugs and did this and did that, and now you've made it. So in their mind, they just have to take the same path, and eventually they'll make it.
Yeah, it's simple, just mathematics, right? You do this,
It's
you do that.
so simple.
But to go back to what you're saying as a conspiracy, I actually believe it's just like, if you replace the wording sometimes, isn't it? It's agenda driven. And that's done for a reason. Like, people know when they make a decision to put Jay-Z on the front or something, or to push Beyonce into something, or to do this and that, it's done for a reason. And it's like you said, this is like thousands of years old, hundreds of thousands of years old, that old thing. But yeah, I mean, I guess what people, I mean, there's so much, right, that we can go on about, but yeah.
Well, trust me, I can talk.
Yeah,
As I'm talking to you now, I just come from the gym, I'm sweating again, like I'm going to the gym, because I'm just like my blood pours up, and like I just see, like, I don't know if you saw the video I done the other day about how black people want to stop this single parent stuff and start having baby mothers and baby fathers. This is why I made this. I'm sick of this stuff. I'm really sick of it. Like, we've become a sexualized, aggressive, arrogant, ignorant culture of people. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like,
no, but even like
women, especially black women, they're only known for being sexualized on television now, not for being smart like they are and all. And when you get the smart ones as well, it's
well, people have, even if you get those ones that are what you call smart, they have to, there's a ceiling eventually that they reach, that they have to sell out in order to take it to the other level. That's part of the
exactly.
But like, you look back in the days, right, in the 80s and the 90s, even, I don't know if you remember you watching this TV show called Desmonds. Do you remember? It was a comedy.
Yeah, of course.
So even that, right, a bunch of guys in a barber shop having a laugh, and you had Matthew, who was like really educated. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was if you compare that to what we have today, that was a fairly run-of-the-mill, decent people living a decent life, earning a wage, intelligent.
You're right.
And then where is something like even Desmonds on TV to show people, oh, look, there are people out there that are not in crime, that aren't. It was a family with 2 children, even the Cosby Show,
Do you know what I'm saying? There's so many examples of these shows. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't know what happened. Do you know what? Most of these shows were in America. Most of these shows that we're talking about, the good shows but in England, I feel like England never really. I feel like they're starting to accept black and ethnic minorities now, but they never.
They're doing it in a way that's almost condescending and taking the mick, I think. Because when I see something like Black Panther being released and everyone's getting excited, we've got all black cast. I'm not, because I know it's still trapped within the agenda. There's a reason why they're doing that. It's a false sense of reality.
Yeah, of course.
Which makes it even more disrespectful, in my opinion.
Of course. Like, put it this way: the powers at hand,
Yeah.
Obviously, you hear people throw the words Illuminati and all that stuff. I hate that word. It basically means the enlightened ones, innit? They're a lot more clever than us, innit? All these plans are put in place. You know what I'm saying? For a reason. They're a lot more clever than we ever will be. Do you know what I'm saying? So
I think I don't know. Yeah, maybe I think they see a different picture to what the man on the street sees. They see a different picture, and they understand that human condition from a different aspect, because it's all about manipulation as well, and it's all about repetition. Like you say, if you keep putting something in front of someone's face, they're going to be influenced. They're going to be influenced by the environment, right?
Oh, bro, that's what I say about like all the representations on them in the media, television, or publications. Like, most of the representation of black people that you see are exactly what I said before. The athletes. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there is no. It's done on purpose. It is done on purpose. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
but you look at Idris Elba. You know the actor Idris Elba.
Yeah, of course.
Good actor, right? But then, like, I was talking to someone about this the other day. It's like, when you look at his most famous role in The Wire, I don't know if you've seen The Wire. Brilliant TV.
Of course.
Great show, right?
Yeah.
But look at his role in there. Like, he was a dealer, right? Big time drug dealer. And I know he was just acting, but you got to think about it. So then people could go back and watch his old stuff and I think that's where he came from, even though it's
Yeah.
fictional. Like
It's like
it's deep, right?
it's like yeah, it's true. Like you know what? Don't get me started on these conspiracy theories. You know, don't get me
Now
because
we'll do a whole new video on that one, don't worry.
hey, bro, because it's like I think Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine he never won, I think, Oscar or Grammy until he done Training Day.
Yeah.
So have you seen John Q on all these films?
I haven't seen John Q. What is he in that?
Yeah, Denzel Washington. That's that and The Hurricane. That's my two favorite Denzel Washington films. Yeah,
Okay.
The Hurricane basically depicts a boxer, great boxer in the history. Yeah, and the police had they didn't like him and they destroyed his whole life. Even though on the record he's still one of the greatest boxers. Do you know what I'm saying? There's that film. Long story short, he's played really great parts, but the only part, that he wins a thing for is Training Day. And Halle Berry, wicked actor.
Yeah.
Guess what? She won. Guess what? She won the Oscar for Monsters Ball. Have you seen Monsters Ball?
No, I haven't, but I've heard about it.
Bro, when I saw that film, I was so disgusted. It's basically this white man. He don't like black people. And in the end, he basically, I don't know if it was a rape or he had sex with her. It basically ended up, and it's like, she had to be demeaned. She had to be put, you know what I mean? We can never just be seen for what we are and the talents that we got. We have to do something.
No, but you know who highlighted that the best, right? Was Dave Chappelle. Do you remember years ago when he left and he had another contract on the table from one of the networks and he left, he went to Africa and that. And then he was
50 million.
And Dave Chappelle he talks about this the best because he talks about the way that the black actors they just use like idiots. And you look at that guy now, Kevin something? You know that famous guy? Kevin Hart. And people you say the same thing about him. It's like, yeah, he can do stand-up. Some of his stand-up's pretty good, a bit intelligent. But then when you go to films, you're just a bumbling idiot. That's all you are. And I think they asked Dave Chappelle to wear a dress or something once. And he was like, no, I'm not going to do this. It's crazy.
You know, I hadn't thought about this until now when you just said it, I just realized we are, as black people, we're operating in a white world. Like, listen, in Bollywood, you don't have your own films, or in Bollywood, they have their own films. In China, they have their own films. Everyone, do you know what I'm saying? Everyone has their own little thing. Do you think a Bollywood artist need any authentication from Hollywood? No. Are you mad? They don't care. They're already a star in their own right. Do you know what I'm saying? But with black people, I feel like we don't have enough authentication till a white man does it for us.
Yeah, and then they have to push out something like Black Panther, like showing people with like, you know, even though it was sci-fi, but what they call traditional sci-fi garments and Africa for people to represent African culture. I think is more disrespectful than just showing a normal guy in a normal role in Africa wearing his clothes. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's ridiculous.
And again, like I said, these kids they can't identify with any of these things. The only people they identify with are people that are doing bad stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there is so much glory and hard work and things that black people are putting in the past. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that need to be. Do you know what? I'm not going to say they need to be highlighted because we've got the internet. You should do your own research and find out for yourself. But don't highlight Jay-Z and Beyonce so much and all these people. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. I don't feel like they highlight like. Ooh, I'm trying to think. I don't feel like Sam Smith, Adele, all these big white artists. I don't feel like you see them as much as you see like a Beyonce, Jay-Z, and I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah. No, it's true. And sometimes, like, the funny thing about this is just to switch off from it, right? But it's so pushed in people's face now that it's really difficult. But I mean, we could go on and we could, you know, maybe we could do another discussion later on about the wider issues of the race and the influence on society and, you know, all of that. That'd be pretty interesting. But
I actually love this.
Get some other people to jump on.
Channel.
Yeah,
that's why I started, because I love this stuff. I love talking about just real stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like everyone's just stuck in this mad matrix. Like literally, people are just eating what they're fed. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I don't even like talking about this. For example, I don't eat meat. Yeah, my
Yeah.
whole family eats meat. Yeah, like, but I had to take the choice in myself and realize, whoa, do you know what? Maybe meat is not what I want to be consuming. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's just, I'm not trying to say that to brag about, to say I'm a vegan or nothing. That I'm just saying it to say the kind of person I am. I could be in a room. Do you know what? If I was in a room full of people saying yes, I'm gonna be the one to say no, because I don't like following the crowd. I like to. I'll think to myself, why is everyone saying yes? I need to draw back, and I'm never one. And I think that's what people need to start doing more nowadays. But
No,
we
definitely.
all do this like crowd thing,
Yeah.
like this, like the Jeremy Kyle video I done the other day. We do this crowd thing where one person says something, then everybody thinks the same thing, whether they believe it or not. It doesn't matter. They just jump on the bandwagon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
So,
And like you said at the top of the video, like these days you can't really say much. So it stops these sort of conversations that we're having even happening, because even the art of disagreeing with somebody is gone now for fear
yeah,
of being offensive. Like we could talk now and we could disagree something, but it's fine because we're discussing something. Right? You have your opinion,
exactly.
I have mine. But in the wider society, we're told you can't do that. So yeah, man.
Snowflake. We're in the snowflake generation.
Snowflake, no, but snowflake.
You
But
literally,
maybe we're
got,
maybe me and you are on the tail edge of a snowflake generation, and then this generation below us, and then the two below us are really into it. You know, I don't know. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? It
yeah.
goes deeper. Yeah,
You can't even speak to a woman no more because you might be harassing her.
that's another video. That is.
That's crazy.
That's another video, and I'll get some people to jump on that one because that's crazy. It's completely changed everything. You can't be yourself out there. Bottom line is,
No.
you cannot be the human being that you are anymore out there. You have to become what they want you to become. And like Elon Musk was saying in an interview with Joe Rogan, I don't know if you saw it, it's quite long, but it's interesting. He was saying how the Android generation, right, and how it's already here. When you look at cyber, I don't know what you call it, biotechnology and stuff. Like if a person has an amputated arm and they put a robotic arm on there, he goes, that's one part of it physically, but he goes mentally and spiritually in society, it's already become an android robotic society. You know, everyone on their phones, everyone doing the same thing. It's crazy, man. That's why you need more people just to talk sometimes. But no, so Fred, I want to say thanks though for coming on, right? Interesting discussion.
Do this again.
Definitely,
let's do this again, man. I enjoyed it. You know, like we're both doing the YouTube thing, so we can both help each other. So yeah, man. Listen, I'm a people person. You know what I'm saying? So,
I can tell, but I know it's obviously, you know, and we're having a good conversation, but it's a serious topic. So, you know, it goes to show that people care. You know, from all backgrounds, from all walks of life. Like you care in it because it's sad when you see these things.
In terms of this knife crime thing, and it's kind of mad because like I don't have enough resources myself. I got a friend, he makes cakes, and when all this knife crime stuff was happening, he actually phoned me and he's like, look, we need to do something. We need to go out there and trying to inspire the kids, because he was in prison for like 9 years. He came out and he's got a company where he makes cakes. He's made it in the last year, he's made a cake for Usain Bolt, Conor Ben, AJ, he's got so many celebrities, gigs. He got so many celebrities on his books. You know what I'm saying? So we wanted to go out there and talk to the kids, but unfortunately, the resources, time, life, we just didn't. But if we can do these things as a whole, rather than just one or two people, I think it'll have more of an impact. You know what I'm saying? But any little thing that we can do will have an impact regardless. So. Yeah, I'm very passionate about this kind of stuff anyway. So, because
it's true.
The kids are meant to be our future, no?
Yeah, and I saw this thing on the news, right, where they were showing, which I'll just close off with probably, where they showed like youth centers and that, right, and they were showing one in like Croydon, and they were showing how like these kids would come there because, like you said, when they go home, like there's no one at home sometimes, right? So they'd go after school to these youth centers to play pool, play football, whatever, and they were just closing it down. And the people running the place, like this white lady, and she was like, why? That's their whole life. You're basically shutting down their whole life. So a lot of it's to do. So they know what they're doing. The government knows what they're doing when they're doing
one more thing on that. One more thing on that one. Yeah. just like I said, I'm talking off this topic because I know kids that are involved in this kind of life. So, off of just what you just said, yeah. When I was younger, I was in youth centers. You know what I'm saying? We had so much stuff to do and all that.
Yeah.
Now these kids, yeah, literally, like you said, when they finish school, they got nothing to do. That's why you see a bunch of them hanging on a street corner in an estate somewhere or whatever. And you know what the crazy thing is, yeah? We're highlighting knife crime right now because it's quite prevalent in the media and all that. But do you know there's also a lot of little kids, yeah, who are so bored and don't have no time, they have nothing to do. They're suffering from drug and alcohol dependency. You know that?
Yeah.
So there's the ones that's out there stabbing people, then there's the other ones who are literally just getting high every day because they're just bored.
Yeah.
We need to give these kids more an aspiration. Show them they have a future. Like they're not just sometimes we treat these kids like parasites. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they're human beings that's gonna grow up to be hopefully like fruitful adults. But
yeah, man. No, it's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, definitely we'll set something up soon and talk about some of those wider issues that we spoke about. Maybe get some people to jump on. Get a wider discussion, right?
Yeah, so, and next time I do this as well on my channel as well, I'm gonna have to invite you as well to talk about.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. So if you could highlight this video as well somewhere in a description, get people to view it. Because sometimes it's good where you see a back and forth as well. You see different opinions and stuff, you know.
Yeah, I don't. Do you know what? I don't really know how to do all that stuff right now. I'm still learning. I have no idea.
I'll show you at some point. All right.
I'm a dinosaur to this. I'm just learning everything as I'm going.
But people interested in your stuff. How long have you had your channel or posting regularly on your channel? Is it
it's about a month. I had my channel for a long time. Yeah. Probably about 2 years. I don't know, a year or two. Yeah. But I was doing music, innit?
Oh, okay.
And I got bored with the music stuff, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just do social commentary because I just feel like I got a lot to say in it. So
definitely, man.
And it's going well so far, so I'm not gonna complain. You know?
Cool. Yeah.
But
go on.
No, go on. Sorry.
No, anything else you wanted to say? I might just close it off soon. So.
Just we as a community need to help these kids. That's if we care enough. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially in the Black community, we need to because it's mainly the Black kids suffering.
Yeah.
So,
definitely, man. So like I said, thanks a lot. So please like this video, share this video if you whoever's watching. Subscribe to both our channels. I'll be linking Fred's channel in the description down below, and let us know what you think of this video. So Fred, I'll let you know. You just come back from the gym, so I'll let you get on with your Saturday. Nice one, man. We'll speak to you soon. Yeah, take care.
Definitely, man. Thanks. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you, bro.
Bye.
Thank you.